Today we're going to cover section 10.2, multiplying monomials, the product and power rules. To start out with, let's just recall what an exponent actually is. So if you have some kind of number a and you raise it to the exponent n, where n is just a positive whole number, this is basically repeated multiplication. So for example, if we had something like 3 to the fourth power, this is 3 times itself 4 times. So the exponent tells you how many factors you have of the base. 3 would be the base here. So the product rule for exponents is a way to multiply two expressions together that have the same base. And it says that if you have a to the m times a to the n, you can write this just as a to the sum. You just add exponents. So let's see why this works the way it does with a quick little example, and then we'll go through example 1 together. So let's try something like x squared times x to the fourth. So our rule, this product rule for exponents, says that we should be able to just write this as x to the 2 plus 4, x to the sixth. But let's see why that actually works out. So if we write x squared in terms of multiplication, we know it just is x times x. And x to the fourth would be 4x's, x times x times x times x. So if I drop all these parentheses and just write how many factors of x I have, x times x, x times x times x times x, we can see that we have 6 of them. And in fact, this is x to the 6th, which is what our rule tells us it should be. So obviously this is just one example, but hopefully that helps you see how the rule actually works and that it does come from somewhere. So for example 1, we're going to do this shortcut way. You can think of this little product rule for exponents as a shortcut. So part A, 2 to the third times 2 to the fourth, we now know that we can write this as 2 to the 3 plus 4, which you could probably do that in your head and write 2 to the 7th. And if you have your calculator, you could go ahead and put 2 to the 7th in and get that it is 128. Now, of course, you could have put 2 to the third and get 8, and 2 to the fourth and get 16, and multiply them together and get your 128. But we're just kind of practicing with this rule. So part B and part C, you can't use a calculator for, right? There's no way to put in T's and A's and such things. So t to the fourth times t to the 7th is t to the 4 plus 7, or t to the 11th. And we can't go any further than that since we don't know what t is. All right, part C. Sometimes people get a little confused about what's going on with that guy right there. So remember, if you just have an a, it's understood, or just an x or just a t, whatever, it's understood to be to the first power. So we could write this product as a to the 6th times a to the first times a squared. So now we know that we want to actually add up 6 plus 1 plus 2. Don't skip the a in the middle. So then that would be a to the 9th. All right, so now pause the video and try this quick check. If you're short on time, then just try the odd ones. Okay, so back to our lecture. Hopefully you tried the quick check. And you would have gotten, for number 1, this expression 12 to the third is written in exponential form. Number 2, this is just writing this rule down. What you do with the m and the n, you add them. So this is a to the m plus n, and those are supposed to be in the exponent. Kind of hard to tell. Number 3 is false. You don't do anything to the bases. It should just be 3 to the 6th. Number 4 would be 3 cubed, or 27. Number 5 would be negative 5 to the 5th power, which is 1325. Oh, but negative, sorry. And then number 6 would be c to the 8th. Number 7 would be y to the 9th. And number 8 would be a to the 15th. All right, next page. And next rule, power rule for exponents. So if you have some kind of exponential expression to another exponent, you just multiply the two exponents together. So let's look at an example of this to see how to motivate this rule. So if we have x, let's say squared to the third power, well, we know that this third power means multiplying x squared times itself 3 times. And then we could even, if we wanted to, write out what each x squared is, that each x squared is x times x. So we see that we have 6 factors of x total, which is what you get if you multiply 2 times 3. And of course, we could have back here use the rule we just learned. 2 plus 2 plus 2 is also 6, right? Same thing as 2 times 3. So example 2, simplify and write your answer in exponential form. So for this one, even if we could work out what like the final answer is, we're just going to leave it as a number to an exponent, or in part A, a variable to an exponent. So we have z to the 5th, all to the third power, and we've just learned that this is z to the 5 times 3. We can just multiply those exponents together. So we get z to the 15th. And for part B, negative 8 to the 2nd, all to the 4th power. We multiply our exponents together, so negative 8 to the 2 times 4 is the same as negative 8 to the 8th, which would be something really big. Okay, so let's try the quick check. So again, if you're short on time, just try the odd ones. So pause the video and give these a shot. Okay, so number 9, this is just writing down what that rule is we just learned. So m times n is your new exponent. Number 10, this would be 2 to the 8th. 11 would be negative 3 in parentheses to the 6th power. Make sure you don't leave off the parentheses around your negative numbers. And then b to the 10th, and then again parentheses around the negative y to the 8th. And if you have questions about any of these quick checks, you need more explanation, just send me an email and tell me quick check number 12 or whatever it is. All right, one more rule we're going to learn in this video is the product to power rule for exponents. So if you have two things multiplied together for your base, you can kind of think of it as you can distribute the exponent to each of those factors. So let's just go with the AB. So A times B, and let's look at it to the third power. So because of what an exponent is, we know this is A times B times itself 3 times. So using the associative property, I can drop all of the parentheses, and using the commutative property, which we've talked about those at the beginning of the semester, I can rearrange all of this. So I have A times B times A times B times A times B, or I could put the A's together. A times A times A times B times B times B. So I see that I've got A to the third power times B to the third power. Nice and easy. So example 3, part A is not going to be too bad, but we'll see that B and C we're going to have to kind of combine with the rule that we just learned about the power rule. Okay, so part A, 3B to the 4th power. So we now know that we need to raise 3 to the 4th and then B to the 4th. Well, there's not much we can do with B to the 4th, but we could go ahead and write 3 to the 4th in as just a number. And you could put it in your calculator, but it's 81. 81 B to the 4th. And then part B, negative 4 m cubed all squared. So we need to square each factor inside our parentheses. So the negative 4 is going to get squared, and then the m cubed is going to get squared. Now, writing it like that, that may just be confusing, but this is kind of what you're thinking, that you're squaring each factor. So the negative 4 squared would be a positive 16, right? Whenever you square something, you get a positive. And then for the m's, we're using that power rule where you multiply exponents. So 3 times 2 is 6, so this is m to the 6th. And last one, part C. So now we need to cube each of these factors. And I'll go ahead and write each one cubed, but you might want to just skip this step since it's a lot of writing. So negative 2 to the third, if you raise a negative 2 an odd exponent, it just stays odd, right? Negative 2, negative 2, negative 2, you have 3 negatives, so negative 8. 2 times 3 again, we have a 6th, a to the 6th, and then just b to the 3rd. Okay, so let's try the quick check. So again, pause your video and give these a try. All right, so answers to the quick check, true or false, this would be false. You should actually have an a squared and then b to the 6th. For number 15, this would be 8n cubed. 16 would be negative 125 x to the 12th. And 17 would be 49 a to the 6th b squared. So that concludes our video lecture. In preparation for tomorrow, please try from your book, page 606, numbers 21 through 53 odd, and send me emails if you have any questions.